Good day.
Did you ever have to get like summer jobs like Sonic or something, or was there always just so much work to be done?
Always so much work to be done. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, you got to work alongside your dad like that.
Yeah, I always grew up like driving tractors and driving trucks and tractors and trailers and all that stuff, like cutting hay and baling hay and all that stuff, like farmer shit.
Yeah, my summer jobs in high school, like, were like, I guess it was, I only had to after I could drive. So like 16, 17, 18 summers. And that was initially like, I would have been that was the story where I went and I tried to work at Ben and Jerry's, and they told me I was hired after getting 8 full hours of making waffle cones out of me. And then they told me that they actually closed and thank you for trying out. And so, so that
What's
sucked.
The word for that? We learned it with Danny Mullen.
Oh, there's some French word for like a tryout, but it was like 15 minutes in. They're like, you're a natural at the waffle cone thing. And I'm like, it kind of does it for me. I kind of just pour it in there. But then my job from then on was, I was always a pretty competitive goalie in ice hockey, as you two know. And so my summer job then was like this camp recruited me to be like a coach. And that was just my job for summers from then on out, which was pretty awesome because there was something about being like, when like, if you're not a hockey player, you don't know, but like the coach is out there with just skates. The goalie coach is out there with just the lower body pads and then like a windbreaker. And I always thought like at like 14, like, oh, those guys are so cool. They're like, and I'm like looking at a 17-year-old at 14, like a grown up. And then like when I got to be that guy, I'm like, damn, I'm fucking tight. Like I'm teaching kids how to butterfly, how to handle the puck and everything. And that was a great summer job. It was fun.
I coached a swim team in college in the springtime, and it was taught at my collegiate pool. Like the kids would come and they'd say the thing, and it wasn't really like coaching. These kids were so young. It was a little past learn to swim, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm training them up to become Olympians, but it was a big deal that my name was on the wall on the record board, like while I'm coaching them. There were a couple of us. If there were 6 coaches, like 2 or 3 of us were record holders at the school. And it just felt like that was the most badass thing. Like when he introduced us to the parents, he'd be like, do you see that Matt Woodworth? That's the guy right there. And,
you want to know my silliest summer job? I think I watched Jeremiah Johnson, or like one of those like old timey like trapper movies, like about a wilderness survival man.
Okay.
And I became like interested in traps, like fur trapping.
Yeah.
This sounds absurd. Like what year is it? And so like I found
2003.
this is literally like 1999 or 1998. And like one of the farmers nearby had this issue with beavers, like going into like their corn or their wheat or whatever. And I went and bought beaver traps, and I literally like trapped beaver for them for $10 a beaver. Yeah. I trapped. I mean, look, I didn't make a living out of doing it or anything. But
how many did you get? Do you think?
I don't remember how many.
He's still a bit of a beaver aficionado, if we're honest.
Yeah. And he still traps them in his own way with threats.
Kyle's pretending not to get our jokes, but I think he's with it.
That trapping beavers is a very funny thing to do. Why beavers? Was it just like that's the only thing they needed trapped, and so that's
the only thing they needed trapped? And I don't really feel sorry for them. But I just remember like they were like, I heard these farmers talking about how they had this beaver problem, and I was like, Dad, do they make traps for beavers? He's like, I don't know. And we went to like Bass Pro Shop or something like that and asked, and they're like, yeah. And a beaver trap looks weird. It's this weird, funky trap. And
it's not a square with a little door inside that falls behind them.
Oh no, it kills them. It's one of those. It's not a live
trap.
Like
a bear trap?
It's a little like a bear trap, but it's shaped very differently. It's at least I'm sure there's different kinds, but the one I had was like wonky. But yeah, I trapped beaver for them at like $10 a head. And I just remember like how awkward the negotiation was with this man. Because like, let's see, if it was like 1997 or 1998 or something, I was like 12, 13 or something. And I just remember approaching this farm. Yeah, there it is. That's literally it. Like, I don't know about you, but as a 12-year-old, I looked at that and I was like, So is somebody going to teach me how to use this? Or?
I need a lesson right now.
I need a lesson right now, and I've used one before.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like maybe you pull it wider so it becomes kind of a cube, and then
maybe
they
the
trigger
part that's
the
on
two
top,
things hanging down.
The parts on top you pull away from each other, and then it expands the springs on the
Looks
side.
like you could just beat the beaver to death with it.
You definitely could. But I
So
remember
that trap is like the end of the beaver when it steps in it, pretty much.
yeah.
So you didn't take them out and like release them. You're just showing up with like beavers in your hands. Like this is 10 here and 10 here. And there's some in my truck back there.
I would show up every time I had a beaver and I'd be like, here you go, Doug, I got another one. And he'd give me $10. And like that year I caught, I don't know how many beaver, but it was enough, for like, again, I was like 12, 13, 14, definitely wasn't even 14, probably 12 or 13. So like $10 was a big deal. It was like, oh, this is fucking candy money. We're going to make it rain. It was, it was a big fucking deal to get like 10 extra dollars on top of everything else. Yeah.
That was like, real money at that age.
And I was kind of working for it. I don't know. It was kind of cool. And again, like I had gotten this whole idea from watching. If nobody out there has seen Jeremiah Johnson, it's the meme that you've all seen where like it zooms in on the wilderness man and he just goes,
oh, now I know.
Just the nod.
It's the nod. It's the bearded wilderness man giving you the nod. It's that meme. It's there's this part at the end where he's been spending all winter learning to be a mountain man, and the guy comes back that had seen him when he first started, when he was bad at it. And he's like, "You've come a long way, pilgrim." And he just goes, "It feels like a long way." Because it has been. It's been the hardest winter of his life. He's had to like scrape for every calorie he's eaten, every little bit of warmth that that has like kept him alive. He's had to grind for it. He's had fires go out. He's scrambled in the creek for fish. I want to say that the Indian named him "White Man Who's Bad at Fishing" or something like that. like he ended up you hope that your Indian name is going to be like "Stand Strong Like Bear" or something like that, or like "Wild Man." But he's like,
your name is Weeping Pussy.
They name him like Bad Fisherman or something like that because he's just like in the creek trying to like get the trout out. Like, no, Jeremiah Johnson, great movie, and it inspired me as a 12-year-old to become a trapper for a while.
You're like, I think they say history repeats itself. We're about to enter another era of trapping as a primary source.